It seems unlikely now that we know everything that we know.
Well, 2 tabloids were going absolutely crazy about me at the time and trying it on as they do.
Yes.
And I decided that for a change, I'd really put my foot down. So I sued them both. Despite everybody's saying don't do it, I did it, and I won and got retractions in the same size print as the articles
That's
themselves.
amazing.
And then I gave the money to charity. And
That's amazing. This is thank you very much.
So
I
write
love
Meghan
that.
Markle and let her know that it's okay to sue them.
Yes, exactly.
You know, it's very hard for the royals to do that.
I think so.
Yeah, they're owned by Britain, by the country.
It's wild.
And so it's very hard for them to sue. They're not normally allowed.
Right.
I hope she does.
I know.
So you just watched that clip, and it's important because moments like this don't happen by accident, and they don't slip out unless they're true. Julie Andrews didn't raise her voice, she didn't rant, she didn't posture. She calmly explained how tabloids lied about her. Not speculated, not gossiped, but printed statements that were factually untrue. And instead of accepting it as the cost of fame, she did the one thing the British press fears more than anything else. She sued. She took them to court, forced accountability, and won. That alone dismantles one of the biggest myths the UK media has spent years pushing, that celebrities who challenge tabloids are dramatic, difficult, or trying to silence free speech. Julie Andrews didn't silence journalism. She corrected dishonesty. She drew a legal boundary and enforced it. And then Whoopi Goldberg said the quiet part out loud. She suggested Julie Andrews should advise Meghan Sussex. That comment was devastating for one simple reason. It connected the dots the British media has worked overtime to erase. Because suddenly, Meghan Sussex wasn't an outlier. She wasn't reckless. She wasn't unreasonable. She was doing exactly what respected, admired, untouchable figures had already done, protecting herself against false reporting. That's the part they cannot stand. The tabloids want you to believe Meghan Sussex reacted emotionally, but Julie Andrews proves the response was rational, strategic, lawful, necessary. Julie Andrews didn't tolerate lies because she was polite. She didn't endure falsehoods to preserve an image. She acted, and she won. So when critics ask why Meghan Sussex sued instead of ignoring it, the answer is simple. Ignoring lies doesn't stop them. Consequences do. The UK media has spent years pretending Meghan Sussex's lawsuits were unprecedented. They were not. They were textbook. The difference wasn't the action, it was who took it. Julie Andrews fit the image of who the press considers worthy of sympathy. Meghan Sussex did not. And that difference matters. Julie Andrews is framed as gracious. Meghan Sussex is framed as confrontational. Yet the behavior was identical. Both refused to accept false narratives as the price of public life. That contradiction exposes the problem. The tabloids are not offended by lawsuits. They are offended by losing control. When Julie Andrews sued, the press treated it as an unfortunate misunderstanding. When Meghan Sussex sued, it was treated as an attack. Same system, same courts, same standards, very different framing. That tells you everything you need to know. This is also where Princess Diana's legacy looms large. Diana tried silence. She tried cooperation. She tried trusting the press to show restraint. And what did it get her? Escalation, invasion, obsession. The British media didn't learn compassion from Diana's suffering. They learned how far they could push without consequences. Until Meghan Sussex arrived. Meghan Sussex didn't negotiate with tabloid culture. She challenged it. She forced it into courtrooms where evidence matters and spin doesn't. And that's why the backlash was so intense. The lawsuits weren't just legal actions. They were exposure. They pulled back the curtain on practices the media relies on but never once examined. They revealed how casually misinformation is treated when the subject is deemed disposable. Julie Andrews' story proves that the press has always operated this way. The difference is that Meghan Sussex confronted it in an era where people could see the receipts. That's what made it dangerous. The UK media loves to frame Meghan Sussex as thin-skinned, but they ignore the fact that she didn't sue over opinions. She sued over false statements, manipulated narratives, and unlawful conduct. That distinction matters. Julie Andrews didn't sue because someone disliked her. She sued because lies were printed as fact. The exact same principle applied to Meghan Sussex. But instead of acknowledging that, the press changed the subject. They made it about tone, about attitude, about optics, about whether Meghan Sussex was likable enough to deserve protection. Julie Andrews was never subjected to that test. And that's why Whoopi Goldberg's comment was so powerful. It collapsed the illusion that this was about behavior. It exposed that it was always about who the behavior came from. Once that comparison exists, the moral argument disappears. If Julie Andrews suing tabloids is justified, then Meghan Sussex suing tabloids is justified. If Julie Andrews protecting her name is dignified, then Meghan Sussex protecting hers is reasonable. You cannot praise one and condemn the other without admitting bias. That is why this moment still matters. The UK media depends on selective memory. They want people to forget that respected figures have always pushed back when lines were crossed. They want Meghan Sussex to appear isolated so they can frame her resistance as radical. Julie Andrews ruins that narrative. She shows that standing up to tabloids isn't new, it isn't American, it isn't aggressive, it's necessary. And the truth is, the tabloids didn't change after Julie Andrews sued. They adapted. They became more strategic, more covert, more willing to test boundaries, especially with women they believe lack institutional protection. Meghan Sussex proved them wrong. Her lawsuits forced admissions, forced settlements, forced public corrections, outcomes the press repeatedly claimed would never happen. That's why the anger wasn't about the process, it was about the result. Julie Andrews walked away respected. Meghan Sussex walked away vindicated. And in both cases, the tabloids were reminded that reputation is not theirs to exploit freely. So when you hear commentators scoff at legal action, remember this clip. Remember how calmly Julie Andrews spoke about accountability. Remember how quickly Whoopi Goldberg recognized the parallel. Because that wasn't celebrity gossip, that was industry truth slipping out. Meghan Sussex didn't invent a strategy. She followed a precedent set by women who refused to be misrepresented for profit. And the most uncomfortable part for the UK media is this. History will side with those women, not the headlines written about them. Julie Andrews is proof of that. Meghan Sussex is living proof of that. And that's why this moment still rattles them. I'm Smiley. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.